Okay everyone, I'm going to walk you through my 2002 Oldsmobile Bravada. It's a Atlas powered vehicle that I'm swapping a 4L80 transmission backed by an Escalade all-wheel drive transfer case and a Trailblazer SS rear end. I posted about it a little bit before. It has an MS3 in it. It's just in a housing that I built for Grand Nationals back in the day. It has a MS3-PRO EFI in there though. Did some interface module work, so pretty much everything in the vehicle functions as normal, even though it doesn't have a factory ECU hooked up anymore. I'm just test fitting everything. You can see I got the harness wrapped around the door right now. That will come through a bulkhead and the firewall I already have there. So laptop's here. We'll key it on. See the startup cycle. Let's focus this in if I can. So everything turns on pretty much as normal. Check gauges because it's not running and there's no oil pressure. You can see everything's there. That should be. Coolant comes from the MS3-PRO through CAN, through a converter. Fuel level comes through the same converter module I wrote software for and built. And then oil pressure is a true oil pressure reading, not just a switch anymore. It has the actual 100 psi transducer in there that the converter, which I'll call a gateway module, takes care of. It also takes that information, sends it over to the MS3-PRO here, which, let me start this thing up quick. And okay, so on the MS3-PRO you can see some readings here. You can see the current AC pressure. That also comes through the gateway module. Current fuel level, which is about 33%. Current oil pressure, which is about 20 psi. And then the fuel gallons left. I actually calibrated this by putting in a gallon at a time and taking a reading, so it's exactly what the true reading is. And right below that, it's really hard to see, but there's an actual flex fuel reading there that is from a flex fuel sensor that's installed but not, or plugged in but not actually installed yet. So a couple other things here. I can go in. Another thing that comes through the interface module is the data stream from the air conditioning control module. That comes through a data stream. It doesn't come through like a wired output like some older vehicles do. So we can go here, turn on our air conditioning, and then you can see here now the clutch request is 100%, meaning that it's on, and then it's indicating on the right that it's actually turned the air conditioning compressor on. Air is getting pretty cold right now, so it brings us back to the dash. Average fuel economy, all that stuff is kind of swagged in there right now. I'm working on getting that decoded. Oil life is showing 32% right now, which is the rounded average for, or the rounded percentage for the flex fuel sensor. So I can actually see my ethanol percentage, because this thing is going to be turbocharged and run on ethanol or E85. So knowing my ethanol content will be really nice. You can see the oil pressure sensor is reading. I can rev it up a little bit here. You can see the oil pressure picks up. TAC and ARP, the TAC and speedo all work correctly, just like you'd expect. Another thing is the gear indicators. So that all works as you'd expect. So what's really nice is because all that data network works, when I put it in park, it unlocks automatically like normal. So it's pretty cool stuff. I'll take you to the engine bay and go from there. Okay, so I got the hood popped open right now, just so we can get some light here. Sitting here, this is all kind of mocked up. None of the harness is wrapped because I'm still in the testing phase. Is, if you know anything about MS3, it does not drive the electronic throttle. So I designed a drive-by-wire throttle body controller that's compatible with it, as well as the gateway module. This is the module I was talking about before. This converts the oil pressure signal over to the GM 1850 VPW network. It also converts the coolant pressure signal over. It does the starting function, so the stock ECU on these handles the starter functions. And then it also takes CAN network data from the MS3, sends it back to the dash. So that's this thing pretty much handles everything. It's kind of like a pseudo body control module. I'll call it the gateway or interface module. So a lot of time in writing software for that to make everything work seamlessly. Next, you'll notice the connector for the fuse block is undone because none of this here is doing anything. It's just sitting there while I'm testing. Here's the flex fuel sensor that's installed, not hooked up yet. That'll go in when I change the fuel system over. I got a Spartan 14.7 wideband in here. These things are awesome. They'll go same thing for the turbo setup. When it goes in, I'll shorten the wiring up when I go in and wrap all this. But this looks like a huge mess right now because I got an unwrapped harness I built over top of a factory harness that's still in place. This connector here is a future expansion connector for 2 methanol injectors I'll be going in. And this will mount in the charge pipe for the turbocharger. I'm actually going to use a Rife fast response sensor for that. So that's just a stand-in GM sensor right now. But I got LTF body cooling fans on here mounted. These do work with my factory ECM setup as well. So all this stuff will pop right back off. That also brings me to a point. The transmission control is handled by a micro squirt, which is out of view right now. But to know the gear range, I have to take all the information and the park switch and everything that's involved with the starting circuit for the ECM. That all comes in through the same module here and broadcasts that range switch information to the dash. So I've got about 60 miles on it driving it like this with an ECM pretty much hanging out in the interior with me. But thing runs awesome. You know, hop in and oh, another cool feature about this here is I repurposed some of the other features in the vehicle, like the end button here for the cruise control. Since I no longer utilize cruise, this is actually the launch control button, so I can put it in. I did a spark cut the other night and instantly smelled some terrible smells because I forgot I got a catalytic converter on this thing still. So I have it set on fuel and spark, so it's pretty tame. But you can hold it in and it sets the limit there. Otherwise it can revs nice and clean for me. So try to get a video here in coming week or two of driving it down the road and hopefully get all the fabbed up turbo stuff bolted on here soon. I'll see you guys later.